This is my 2024 Tesla Model 3 Performance. And yes, it's fast, but how does it stack up against some of the latest gas and electric cars currently on the road today in terms of speed? Well, in this video, I've handpicked 5 of the latest gas and electric cars that are slower than the new 2024 Tesla Model 3 Performance. And if you're cross-shopping a new Model 3 Performance with these competitors, I'll share my thoughts and insights about these cars as someone who's owned and driven a wide variety of different vehicles. But before we get into today's video, I already know someone is bound to chew me alive in the comments in response to this video. But please believe me when I say that I do genuinely love these car brands. I love seeing them on the road, and I also have direct experience driving these various cars. So this is definitely not a video to hate on these specific cars. In fact, some of the cars on this list actually have a leg up on the Tesla Model 3 Performance in many different areas, not including speed, of course. So think of this as like a video you can reference for bragging rights amongst your car buddies. Don't think of this as me hating your favorite brand or your favorite car. Capiche? All right, cool. Let's get into today's video. All right, first car on the list. You've heard me talk about this car in a number of my videos, so I thought I'd start with something familiar. And that is the new 2024 Porsche Taycan 4. This car goes from 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds, and it has a horsepower number of 402 horses. And this is based on what's on their site, which I think is an EPA estimate. And I'll say what I said in my previous videos about this car. I think it's a really, really nice car. I think you get a lot of bang for buck, especially if you cross shop some of the used older Taycan models. They're definitely in the slumps right now in terms of pricing. I honestly think the pricing has bottomed out at this point. And the fact that you could buy one new in almost like the 6-figure range, it probably is a 6-figure range. I don't have their site in front of me right now, but if I had to take a guess, it's probably within the 6-figure or maybe like 80, 90K range. Whereas you can get a used one for half that, which is just truly insane to me. So I think they're really nice cars, but they definitely aren't as fast as the new Tesla Model 3 Performance. Next car on the list is the 2024 Nissan Z, and this is the Fairlady Z for the more tenured viewer out there. This car is very controversial in the US at least. I don't really see a ton of them on the road just because a lot of people just don't really like the design. I personally like the design of the older Fairlady Zs, like I'm talking about the 1990s and below that. Anything else after that, which I guess you could say this is the only thing after that, at least in the US, I don't really like seeing, like especially the front end. The front end is weird. But this car goes from 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds, and it has a number of different trims, but their highest trim tops out at 420 horses, and that is also applicable for the 0 to 60 number. I want to say their lower trim, obviously it's 400 horses, because it actually used to be called the Nissan Z 400 or something like that, or the 400Z. I'm sure they had some sort of naming convention around that at some point, because I definitely do remember it. And if I don't, maybe I'm just crazy. But this car is slower than the new 2024 Model 3 Performance. And again, although it's not really up my alley in terms of looks, I do like the older models better. They are slower, but you can obviously tune them to have like 800 horses, whatever. But yeah, those are my thoughts about this car. All right, the next one is for the muscle people out there. And this car, although all the comments I've had about muscle cars, I feel like have been mostly negative across my videos, this specific car, and I'll say even all of the newer ones currently in this model year, are just so cool to me. I love the taillight design, and I love what they've done with the styling as well. And this car specifically, and again, this is one of those cars that has like 50 trims. So I just took sort of like the mid-level trim or the close to higher trim for this video, just because there's so many trims. But this car is the Mustang Dark Horse, the 2024 Mustang Dark Horse. It boasts a 0 to 60 time of 4.1 seconds, and it tops out at 500 horses, which is actually pretty close to the new Model 3 Performance, but it definitely doesn't beat out that 0 to 60 time. We have almost a second above, or well, actually more than a second above that in terms of 0 to 60 time, because the new 2024 Model 3 Performance goes from 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. And that's just being conservative. You can obviously mod your Model 3 to have just like carbon fiber everything. You could just take out seats and stuff like that. I mean, it sounds extreme, but the fact of the matter is the Model 3 Performance, the new one at least, is faster than this car. All right, next is a car I was actually cross-shopping before I bought this car, the new Model 3 Performance. And that is the 2024 Polestar 2. It goes from 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, and it has a horsepower of 476. And I feel like this car, the reason why I didn't go with it is because the materials weren't really like groundbreaking, right? I feel like people say like with Teslas, the materials aren't really that good. But with this car, I just felt like there was just a ton of plastic. And at least with the model I was looking at, I think maybe it was a later 2023 model, just because I feel like they just recently started refreshing these. And it just started hitting showroom floors and things like that. But the model I was looking at, it had plastic door handles, and it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel solid. It definitely doesn't feel as solid as the Tesla. I can say that for sure. The technology, I didn't really get hands-on with the technology, but I heard the technology in these cars are pretty cool. So I guess you would say they're taking inspiration from Tesla with the whole minimalism aspect, which is one of the things that drew me to the car in the first place. And personally, the styling is much better than the outgoing Model 3 Performance or any of the Model 3s, which is another reason why I was cross-shopping this between the Polestar 2. I'll say, had they not refreshed this car this year and I had no idea what it would look like, I definitely would have went with the Polestar 2. But this is another car. I feel like this is like a pandemic car, because I want to say this car came out in like 2020 or maybe even 2019, something like that. But this car you can find for dirt cheap right now. I think you can get them for like 30, 40K, and that's 40K on the high end. You might even can find some in like the 20, 25K range, just because this car has been around for a little while and it's deemed a pandemic car. So you can get them for super cheap. And yeah, I definitely like this car. Although it has some quality issues that I'm not really 100% fond of, I think it could be a really nice car for someone to own. Anyway, next one. The last, we'll just say the last car, just because I have a little bit of a surprise at the end of this video. So definitely stick around for that. The last car on this video on the list is the 2024 BMW M4 Competition. And this is one where I feel like every BMW owner is going to be like, are you serious? Or they'll be like, there's no way the Tesla is faster than this. And factually, yes, it is. I'll say not by a whole lot, but factually it is. And I feel like in the right conditions, a Model 3 Performance can smoke this thing. So the BMW M4 Competition comes in at 3.4 seconds 0 to 60, and it does 503 horses, according to the website. I personally have not driven one, but I see these cars all day long at car meets, and they're sort of like the culprits when it comes to just rev bombing and just like engine revving and stuff like that, because they generally do sound good. But based on my research, it's technically slower than the new 2024 Model 3 Performance. And again, not by much. And if I had to take a guess, if you can swap out a majority of the car with carbon fiber, or maybe take out some of the back seats, something like that, in a more drastic scenario, you could beat a Tesla Model 3 Performance in the M4 Competition. I guess the main thing you'd probably want to know is it faster than the new 2024 Model 3 Performance? On paper, yes. But given the right conditions, I feel like the BMW will come very, very close to the new Model 3 Performance. And I'd be so close that it might even beat it. Now I kind of regret putting it on this list. But I do have a bonus. And that was actually one of the things I want to talk about towards the end of this video. So I actually just recently launched memberships on this channel. It's something that's relatively new to me. I have a Patreon and I have 2 supporters on there. But if you want a more direct connection through like just my YouTube channel, and you don't want to use like any third parties to support the channel, like Patreon or something like that, you can actually click the join button below. And what I'm going to commit to do is I'm going to be putting together exclusive content for members only, and also extended video content. So if you made it this far into the video, you might want to check out an extended version of this video, and that is actually going to be reserved for the last car on my list, and it is a Porsche. I'm not going to tell you exactly which one it is, but it will definitely surprise you. So if you're interested in knowing what that car is, check out the join button below and join my membership. I want to say I set it at $4.99 a month, so $5. So I wanted to be a little bit conservative just because I know money is tight for a lot of people, including myself as someone that is not employed right now. I'm actually just, I'm actually just living off my savings right now, just because I got laid off back in May, and I just haven't been able to find a job since then. So your support would mean the world to me if you can support my channel through the memberships or even Patreon if you're into that. All right, if you made it this far into the video, welcome to the end of the video. But don't leave yet. Before you leave, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I'm so close, and I need your guys' help to get to that point. So definitely subscribe, check out my other content, and leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. I appreciate it in advance. My name has been John with Blackbird Productions. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.